All right, Matt the Mortgage Guy here, recording a quick video to talk about leverage in real estate. What is all the fuss about leverage? Is it as great as people talk about? What are the pros of leverage? What are the cons of leverage? How can you use leverage to help yourself build wealth in real estate? All that and more in the upcoming video. First and foremost, if you like straightforward mortgage, real estate investing advice, please consider subscribing to the channel. At the very least, gently destroy the like button and let's get into it. So first and foremost, what is leverage? Everybody in the real estate space at one time or another will come across this word or somebody talking about leverage. And they're saying, you know, in leverage, in real estate, sorry, English is hard. In real estate, one of the things you can use is leverage to amplify your returns. And the power of leverage to amplify your returns, make more money using leverage. So what does that mean? Here's the simplest example. You can control a $100,000 piece of real estate without putting $100,000 into it. You don't have to buy the thing cash. You can get a loan. So whether that's 5%, 10%, 20% down, you can do $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 out of your pocket and control the $100,000 asset. Now, why does this matter? Here's a quick and easy example that I drew up on the board. You've got a $200,000 house that you are going to buy, and this is your first house. I've been using smaller numbers because these videos go, across the nation, and some people, when I use California numbers, are like, "What are you talking about? 500,000?" So let's use 200,000. You're buying a $200,000 house. It's your first house. You're going to put 10% down. This is a money bag, and I'm no artist, so don't expect any NFTs from me in the future from my artistic work. But $20,000 down, 10%. You didn't have to have $200,000 to control this asset. You only need 10% down. So an extreme example, 2020 to 2021, depending on the area and depending on which stats you're watching, a 13% price appreciation happens. This $200,000 house is now worth $226,000. It's gone up $26,000, which is pretty cool, right? 13% price appreciation. Here's the cooler part, because we use leverage. You spent $20,000 to control the asset. I'll go on this side so I'm not out of the picture. And you saw a $26,000 increase in your net worth. That's not a 13% return. That's a 130% return. And the math is easy if you think about it. You use leverage to control this asset for 10% of the price. So whatever price appreciation you see is going to be 10x. It's not going to be 13%. It's going to be 130%. Now, granted, this doesn't happen every year, but take this into account. If you put 5%, 10% down, and you see a more normalized 4% year-over-year growth, you're not getting a return on your original investment of 4%. If you put 5% down on a house, you can times this number by 20, right? You bought a house for $300,000 and you only put 5% down, you're only in it for $15,000, and it goes up by 4%, now it's worth $312,000. A $12,000 return on a $15,000 investment is an 80% return. That's pretty cool, huh? Now imagine that on a broad scale across 5 properties, 10 properties, 20 properties. Cool, right? Here's what we'll get into next, because this is the simplified, owner-occupied, buying my own house, it's appreciating in value type of story. And then over here, I used a real life example to kind of talk about how we can use this leverage philosophy in rental properties. Now, granted, I'm looking here and I can see that none of this is legible, but I'll talk through it so it should become clear. I used, again, a real life example, a $400,000 fourplex that me and my wife bought a few years ago. 25% down. A lot of times, if you're buying 2 to 4 unit properties, 25% is the minimum. So as much as we'd like to, put 10% down and have that 10x factor with leverage, it's only going to be a 4x factor with 2 to 4 unit investment properties for now. Those take 25% down. So it makes the numbers really easy. We've got $100,000 invested. I know there's closing costs, I know there's some repair costs sometimes. We're just using simple numbers. Let's call it 350 and the down payment's less, then we get 200, whatever it is. It's just for simplification, right? You'll get the idea. So as an investment property, as a fourplex, we've got the rents, $3,800 a month, which equals $45,600 per year. Now, I shoot straight. There's a lot of things to take into consideration. You don't just take your rent minus what your mortgage is and say that's what I make per month. You take into account vacancy, maintenance, management, utilities, insurance, taxes, and that debt service, which is the mortgage. So all these things. And these numbers are numbers that I've generated based on the area and what I think vacancy factor is going to be. They're going to vary a little bit, but you can go to biggerpockets.com or you can go to most quality real estate sites or forums and just say, hey, what do you think I should add in there for maintenance? What do you think I should add in there for management? What do you think I should add in there? Sometimes utilities is paid by the tenant, sometimes it's by the owner. But whatever that is, factor all this stuff in so you get real numbers. So you're not just appeasing yourself and pretending like you're going to get 30% returns on everything. So once you take all that out, $12,000 is the true cash flow. And if you bought this thing for cash for $400,000, that $12,000 cash flow would be a 3% return. And nobody would get really excited about a 3% return, right? But since we're only in at 100, since we used leverage, that $12,000 is now a 12% return. Now here's the magic. Your tenants are paying down your mortgage. So over time, you owe less and less, right? It started, you bought it for $4, you put 100 down, you owed 300. After the first year, they've paid it down, you owe $294. That's $6,000 you can count. That's net worth. That's the difference between what it's worth and what you owe. That's equity. So $6,000 in principal pay down that first year. What about the tax write-off? Everybody talks about how great of real estate is for taxes. You get to write off income, you get to write off, depreciation. Real estate, can be great for decreasing your tax exposure. And in this case, let's call that $7,000. Now all of a sudden we've got $12,000 cash flow, $6,000 principal pay down, and $7,000 tax exposure. Decrease, right? $25,000. Now I'm no mathematician, but $25,000 real return on a $100,000 investment sounds a lot like a 25% return for me. So that is how the use of leverage allows you to get a 25% return. Now these numbers are guesstimates, and these numbers, might include some closing costs and some get ready stuff, but it just gives you the idea of how 5-10% can let you control an owner occupied asset. 20% down, 25% down, you can control this asset. You don't need to put 100% cash to buy real estate. That's why people talk about leverage and the power of leverage. So hopefully this video was helpful. I wanted to just go over it in simplified terms just to talk about what is leverage and why it's important. And this example hopefully helped clarify it for you. If you have any questions at all, matt@mattthemortgageguy.com. If I can't serve you with a mortgage in California and you're looking for mortgage advice out of state, I'm happy to do that as well. Just send me an email or go to my website, mattthemortgageguy.com. Fill out a form. I'll refer it to a great agent, whatever state you're located in. Thanks.